Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about All Night. This show came out in 2018 and it lasted for one season. It was basically a one and done season, so no matter what, it was just gonna last for one season only because it depicts the lives of a bunch of 18-year-olds who literally just graduated high school and going to their graduation party that night, which is why it's called All Night. And so it's basically a mini series and it's on Hulu for you to watch, and it's an awesomeness show. Awesomeness shows are shows I've covered in the past, and they are pretty awesome. They're basically teen drama shows and comedies that have a bunch of up and coming young new teen stars, mostly that stars that in teen TV shows, teen direct to streaming movies, did former Disney Channel stars, and also that of internet personalities. Sometimes you'll have a YouTuber or a Vine person, and this show has about 3 internet personalities on here, while the rest are teen stars and stuff. And this is a pretty good show. It's pretty funny and I like it a lot. However, it did slip my notice. The reason how I even got invested in this show and I'm watching it right now is because I was researching School Spirits, which is on Paramount Plus, and it's also an awesomeness show. A lot of awesomeness shows appear on Hulu, but this one appeared on Paramount Plus. It stars that Peyton List, and it's a show I review. Go watch that. It's really good. And so, when I was researching that, I was all like, oh, an awesomeness show. I'm all like, you know what? There's been a couple of awesomeness shows I've watched, and on Paramount Plus, I rewatched a couple of ones I watched in the past, like Guidance and Tagged. And so, I wanted to see were there any other ones that I never seen before. And so as I was looking up the roster and everything, I saw that there was a Richie Rich remake with Jenna Ortega playing the best friend of Richie Rich. Now, I'm not going to go watch that because that's for little kids and she was really young in that. And so I started scrolling on more and I saw something called All Night. And so I was reading about it and I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, this sounds kind of interesting. Graduation party, they're all up all night. A bunch of teens going through drama. There's drinking, there's sex and stuff like that. And so, but they're really adults, but teen adults and everything. And so I'm like, okay, this is interesting, but I really don't feel like watching it until I saw somebody's name on there. Brett Bassinger. And boy, if you've ever seen my channel, you know I am a fan of hers because of Stargirl. And I'm all like, oh, I've got to watch her in something else other than Stargirl. So I'm totally watching this show. But I'm like, man, where am I going to be able to find it? After doing some soul searching, it's on Hulu of all things. So I'm like, oh, I've got to watch this. 10 episodes, about 20 minutes long. I'm totally going to watch it. And so I never knew this show existed. And not only that, but it slipped my radar. Why? Because this is the logo Hulu puts up for All Night. And as you can see, it's just a desk. And I'm just kind of seeing that you're gonna pass by and not even give it no attention. And so I wish they would have used the actual picture with the entire cast on there. It has a huge cast and a huge diverse cast. The cast consists of that of white, black, Hispanic, one dude's Portuguese, Jewish, and one Indian actress. But sadly, there are no Asian people in this show, which is really bizarre because, a high school, drama about graduation and this and that, you would expect at least to be at least one Asian person in the entire cast. But for the most part, it is very diverse, and I like that. However, one major problem I have with this show is how it depicts its people of color, especially that of the black people and the Hispanic people. Because for the most part, all of the black characters on this show don't really have a storyline of their own. Well, except for 2, but again, those 2 who have their own storylines, they're combined together. But for the most part, all of the black people on the show, which I think is about 4, are basically just the best friends of that of either the white or the Jewish characters. Now, the Jewish characters on the show look white when you look at first glance at them, but for the most part, all of the black people are just best friends with like the white people, and their storylines consist with theirs, and they're basically just there to give support to the lighter skinned characters and stuff, not really having the storyline of their own. The one Hispanic girl, she is just like, trapped in the basement with like a light skinned dude, and she doesn't really interact with none of the other like students. The only person of color who gets their own storyline is this dude who's like Portuguese and stuff. And he is literally the only one who has his own storyline. However, his storyline is pretty much a stereotypical type one that isn't all that like, flattering. Basically, he is the student who's been repeating the same like year over and over and over again, and who could never graduate, had to drop out, get his GED. So he's a bit older than like the other character. He's about like in his 20s, and he decided, you know what, I'm going to my graduation party because now I can finally go because I got a GED, and I'm going to do everything I never got to do, missing out on my high school years. And he's like a former bully and stuff like that, but he's basically the idiot character and stuff, who's wild and crazy. And I'm just kind of like, really? That's the only storyline you give the person of color who has their own actual storyline? And so I'm just kind of like, ugh, this is so Hollywood and everything. But I will get into everybody individually and why the black characters piss me off by the way they're depicted on the show, because it's kind of like they're literally just there. They literally follow the light skinned characters around like puppies, and they're there just to give moral support with no real storyline of their own except for two, and those two are combined. And so it's a little irritating and stuff. Actually, the only other person of color who has their own storyline is this dude. However, his is extremely perverted, and that's disturbing. Like, why did the dude of color have to have the most perverted storyline in the entire like show? However, when watching the very first episode, something I started to notice, and the thing I noticed is that this is basically Can't Hardly Wait. Now, Can't Hardly Wait is a classic, and I mean a classic movie from the 90s, 1998 to be exactly. So 20 years later, there is another version of like, that movie, but it's a but All Night is basically a watered down version of Can't Hardly Wait. Can't Hardly Wait is just insane. One day I will talk about it. I can't wait. I think I talked about Not Another Teen Movie, which is based on Can't Hardly Wait. But yeah, Can't Hardly Wait is just like a classic movie where it's a bunch of like up and coming teen stars and young adult stars, like, at a graduation party. In fact, they actually ripped a lot of the themes and storylines and character personalities from Can't Hardly Wait and placed into all that. They have the extremely attractive hot girl who like, breaks up with her popular boyfriend, only to have the nerdy dude try to like hit on her. The nerdy dude who tries to like hit on her, he has a best friend and love interest who is like, an outcast. You have some blonde girl who's kind of obsessed with like a yearbook, and there's a certain thing that goes with her yearbook. Whereas in the movie, she's trying to get it signed, whereas in the show, she carved out like, pages to put like alcohol in it, and she charges money. But that girl, the blonde girl who is like, has that whole thing with the yearbook, she bonds with that of a black dude, just like in the movie. You have this super geeky nerdy dude who's like on a mission and everything, and he has like his friends that try to help him out in this mission, only for all them to all get separated. You have like the extremely other hot girl who's like, bonding with like the nerdy dude and stuff like that, and who spends like all her time. And so basically it's like this one like, attractive girl who's hanging out with an outcast the entire time while they're trapped in like a room. Instead of having like white characters trying to talk and act black, you have the black characters who are talking white. You have that outsider girl who hates the really popular girl, and it's like she spends the entire movie complaining about like this and about that, and how she used to be friends with like this one person, but this one person kind of got taken away from her, and her being kind of like attracted to like another outsider. That popular guy is a jerk who cheats on his girlfriend and like, doesn't appreciate her, and is just like a really like jerky kind of guy. You have that one black character who is like, trying to do something, and you have their friend who is like jealous and trying to like, get in their way. You have that wild, goofy guy who's just like the life of the party and everything, and who's like really stupid and stuff and steals the spotlight. You have that dopey best friend who's part of like a clique and who's there just to give moral support to that of like, whoever the main girl is in the group. And you have that one nerdy outcast dude who's like trying to get really bad with like this one girl, and like, he'll do it by any means possible, even if she's like with somebody else. The slow motion walk, which is so outdated. The hot girl talking about how she was just his girlfriend throughout high school, and that's what people knew her as. That line is totally ripped from the movie. And so you have these different like, variation of characters that are literally based off of like Can't Hardly Wait, which is just insane in the fact that Can't Hardly Wait is about a graduation party, and so is like, All Night. And eventually they were gonna make some type of remake, reboot, or something of like Can't Hardly Wait, because they wanted to make one in, I think, in 2019, and Jennifer Love Hewitt was supposed to direct it, but so far that has been in a developmental like standstill and everything. And so eventually they made it into like, this show. And like I said before, this show is pretty cool. Like, it's pretty funny. They have like, drama that the characters go through. It's a large cast, and they go through like all of their individual like, plots in the like show and everything. And like, there's like drama. There's more focus and drama on the white and Jewish like light-skinned characters, and the people of color do get their own plots and their own drama, but it's kind of like rushed through, whereas the show primarily focuses on just like, the extremely hot girl character, the outcast character girl, and the dorky outsider guy who's trying to get with like the hot girl, when actuality it's the outside girl who's like one of his closest friends that like has a thing for him and stuff. And I remember my graduation party thing. They took us out to like, a place, some type of rec center thing, and we was up all night and into the morning. Nobody slept. It was just like a blast. All we did was like play games and interact with people. Some people interacted with folks that they never interacted with before, and stuff like that. And it's one of those things that like it's kind of a blur, but you remember it and stuff. And but it wasn't as raunchy as like this show or like the movie Can't Hardly Wait. And but with like this show, there's a lot of emphasis on alcohol, and at first I was irritated by that because I hate how they always have like teenagers drink alcohol and this and that. But then I remember, oh wait, they're 18, they graduated, so they're technically adults and they're no longer in high school. And yeah, they're not 21, but whatever. They're still like adults. So, like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so there are adult faculty in this show, but they kind of like pop in and out. They're not really the focus. So, they're not really supposed to be the focus. The focus is supposed to be like, on like the younger characters and stuff. And it's really cool that they made this show because you don't see no other network trying to make a show like this or trying to tackle some of the issues that they do. I wish they could have tackled the issues a bit more dramatically, but this is a comedy drama and it's only like 20 something minutes. If it would have been an hour, it would have been more like hard hitting, you know what I'm saying? I wish they could have had like a second season that could have shown what they was like when they was in high school, because that would have been really interesting and really like fascinating and stuff. However, I do still hate how they depict like the diverse minority characters because, like I said before, all these storylines revolve around all the light-skinned people. Now, there is one transgender actor in this show, but he just plays like a regular like dude. And like the only reason why I know he's transgender is because it's the actor who played James in the Disney Plus Goosebumps show. And that actor normally just plays regular guys, never like transgender guys and stuff. And he's barely in the show. He kind of just pops in one scene. You see him in the background and he has like one line and then that's literally like it. Like they couldn't even give that person like anything to do or say. Now there are two LGBT characters in the show, and those are the two black girls whose storylines are connected to like each other. And they kind of just rush and glance over that like very quickly. Even when there is some drama too there, it's just like glossed over and everything and just like rushed on through. So I wish they could have took more detail into like a storyline like that and give them their due, as they did with the hot girl who's like trying to figure out why her boyfriend won't like, boink her and everything. So let's get into a couple of like character details and or character profiles. So let's start with the reason why I watched this show to begin with. Stargirl herself, Ronnie. So Ronnie fits the trope of being the extremely hot, popular girl. She's prom queen and she's extremely like dressed as sexy and she's dating like the most popular dude and she's extremely horny this entire like show. Basically, she wants to give it up and she wants to give it up to her boyfriend. However, every chance that she tries to get with him, he will not let her. And you gotta like question yourself, why won't he do her? Because she's extremely hot. They're popular, they've been dating. Like, is he like just like a virgin, wants to save himself? Like, what is the deal? Well, it leads her friends to speculate he might be gay. So being her, who's not all that bright in the head to begin with, because that's just how her character is, she goes and she constantly asks him, like, yo, are you gay? He denies it. She tells him, it'll be okay and this and that, but then he tells her he broke his shillelagh by playing I'm getting tongue-tied, lacrosse. So Oz is her boyfriend, and so she believes him because, that's her boyfriend, but her friends are just kind of like, and a bunch of random dudes are like, there's no way he's gonna break his shillelagh playing lacrosse. And they tell her most likely if he's not gay or like whatever, and most likely he cheated on her. So she is furious pissed, and it's kind of like, how in the world can he cheat on her? Like, she is just like a dream girl, you know what I'm saying? And so because of this, she is completely heartbroken. She wasted her life, her 4 years dating this dude, and she's only really known as like the girlfriend to Oz because he's popular, she's popular. Very similar to Can't Hardly Wait. And so she decides she's going to get him back. She wants to get him back bad, but she can't break his shillelagh because it's already broken. Now, here's the thing. Guys, you know what? You can't break it. You can fracture it because there's no bone in it. Basically, the only way to fracture, aka break it, is to have rough clickety clacketing You know what? And to the point where, let's say, the girl on top is being a little too rough, and boom, it fractured. So there's a dude who has Viagra. He's selling it. So her and her friends, who help her out, they steal it. They put it in one of those little pixie stick type things, and they give it to him. And since it's fractured, he's not supposed to have a hard on. And so, yeah, the Viagra puts him in extreme pain to the point where he's taken out for the rest of the series. And so that's about like what, the second episode? He doesn't show up to the very end of the last episode. But when it comes to her, also, she has two best friends, Alexis. I'm not sure how you say this other girl name is Lysee, Lyssee, Lisi or something like that. Basically, they're her best friends, and it's cool how she has two black friends. And I love that she has two black friends and she doesn't try to act black. And it's because the two girls aren't ghetto themselves. One's black and the other one's Afro-Latino. And so, for the most part, this is when I say, like, they just legit follow her around, like, the entire series and stuff. They are basically her cheerleaders. They follow her around like a puppy. They're there to help elevate her character and give her assistance, give her emotional support and everything. And we rarely ever see her give them emotional support and everything. And I really hate how they wrote this. Like, I don't care if she has like black friends. That's awesome. But the fact is, they're literally only there to prop her up. And that's very annoying. And that's not by coincidence. This is an intentional writing thing Hollywood does all the time. Now, when she's not interacting with them, it turns out that a guy named Fig is madly in love with her and has been ever since high school started, just like Can't Hardly Wait. And so when she finally breaks up with her boyfriend, he figures, hey, this is the time to like get with her. Just like Can't Hardly Wait. So, of course, like it pisses off Dina and everything, his best friend. And so those two are really connecting and they're about to do it. So they're constantly looking for condoms because she ain't gonna do it without a condom. And it takes them a long time, but they both find it. But then they both realize, hey, this just isn't gonna work out between us and blah, blah, blah. Because Dina told like Fig that she loves him and everything. And so they just decided it's just not going to happen. Well, her and Lisi decided to go streaking when the lights are completely turned out. But then as soon as they're about to go, the lights come back on. But then Ronnie decides, screw it, I'm just going to walk around naked. So her and dude who dropped out and had to get his GED, they start the bond. And of course, they eventually are going to start being a couple at the end of the series. Now, Nino is that dude who eventually will date her at the very end of the series. They had to put him with somebody. Personally, I would have put him with Stefanina because those two have more in common than him and like Ronnie. Ronnie is a cool character and a nice character and everything, and she's really sweet and kind. The only reason why Dina doesn't like her is because she doesn't like popular people and stuff. Speaking of Dina, she is our second main character we need to get into. Dina is the classic manic pixie dream girl. Yes, they have returned and stuff. However, she's a variation of the old school manic pixie dream girl in the new version. She's the I'm too cool to be cool type person. I don't want to be in the in crowd. I'd rather be an outcast, this and that. Whenever she talks, she sounds like she's talking philosophy and you have no idea what the world she's saying. Basically, she doesn't talk normal. She always views the world like, through like a fine lens and judges like everything. She's one of those really annoying outside type characters. And unlike the classic manic pixie dream girl, technically she is there to prop up that of Fig, because she is like, in love with him and everything, and has been for many, many years. So she is there to elevate his character. And because of that, they bond throughout the first couple of episodes until he finds out Ronnie is like, single. And those two, they do everything together. They do karaoke together. They talk. They have long conversations. When this one dude spilled his drink on her, he gave her his favorite flannel. But she's also a new version of the Manic Pixie Girl, Dream Girl thing. And since that she has her own story arc and everything, her story arc, actually, you know what? She doesn't really truly have one, to tell you the truth. She's really just there to profess her love to like Fig, but then she's also there to regain her friendship with that of Cassie and everything. So she kind of does have her own storyline. And so her and Cassie, been best friends for like ever and ever, for over 8 years and stuff. And she starts to get jealous when Cassie starts hanging out with somebody new. And it's even to the point where she accuses Cassie of liking this girl, like this girl, and Cassie got mad. But it turns out they really are secretly dating. And so she couldn't understand why exactly Cassie would not hang out with her in the last couple of hours they're going to spend together before she goes off to Germany and never sees none of these high school people again. And so, like, she's being kind of selfish in the sense that she's had Cassie for 8 years, but Cassie's now girlfriend's only had her probably like a couple of months and stuff, or maybe like a year. When they're supposed to duke it out in an ultimate version of like paper, rock, scissors, they decide to just squash the beef and like bygones be bygones and make up. And so the show does get rushed because only 10 episodes and they're only like 20 minutes long. The bad part is Cassie is just like Lacey and that of Alexis. She's there to follow like, Dina around like a puppy and support her throughout her dramatic like, storyline and everything. And it's annoying because all the black characters do this crap and I just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? I hate how they wrote that crap. And so because of that, like, it's once again, it's just giving a black person something to do to help prop up a white character, and I hate it. Anyways, so after she confesses her love to Fig, he basically blows her off for Ronnie, and it pisses her off to where she goes and starts hanging out with Nina. It looks like they're about to do it, but all the condoms they went and got, they just decided to fill up with water balloons, fill up with water and throw them at people off the balcony. And so, like, basically she spends a lot of time with Nino, but does not want him. It's just she wants, like, attention, and she doesn't want to waste her life away for that of Fig. And of course, just like any good old manic pixie like dream girl, halfway through the series, she decides to dye her hair in a rebellious state. She dyes it pink, and she does it with Jello of all things. And so after realizing she doesn't really want Nino and everything, and Fig realizes he does want Dina, Dina has decided, you know what, you blew me off for somebody I don't like, and I confess my love to you, blah, 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 and I do not want you now. And it takes that of Cassie to snap Dina out of it and be like, look, dude, you've been chasing after this dude for so many years. You now finally have him and you're about to blow it. And not only that, but you only got a couple more hours to spend before you head off to Germany and stuff. So, of course, it ends with these two, like, talking it out towards the very, very end of the show and getting together and everything. We haven't really seen the manic dream girl pixie thing like in a long time in movies and stuff, but like they're slowly starting to come back. They just don't always look the way they used to. Cassie and Alexis. So basically, when they're not running around white characters and trying to prop them up, the writers finally decided to give these two their own storyline, but they decided to combine the two black girl storyline, kind of like killing two birds with one stone. Hollywood is so annoying. But basically, they're a hidden lesbian couple. And the thing is, Cassie, we don't even find out till halfway into the series, towards the end, she has a twin brother, Christian, who's been portrayed throughout the entirety of the show. This is how little they put any effort into her character. And so basically, it's like this: Alexis is closeted, and Cassie is out and about, and they've been dating secretly. And so when Alexis decided to sing a song about coming out and then telling everybody at school that she's a lesbian, she runs up to Cassie and kisses her on the lips. Everybody's happy, everybody's thrilled, except for that of Cassie, and she basically stops talking to her for the rest of the series. And we don't understand why and why they had that huge blow up. But then it turns out that Cassie liked it more when their relationship was hidden, because it was just for them. She likes living in a bubble, whereas Alexis likes to be out and about. So that don't make no sense. If Cassie likes living in a bubble and she's already out and everybody knows she out, then shouldn't Alexis be the one living in the bubble, since she didn't want nobody to know she was a lesbian and stuff? So all of a sudden she's out and about. Did you see what I say when they did not take any care or thought into writing these two characters, to where they really just don't make no sense and everything? But anyways, with the help of Fig, because apparently Fig and Cassie are also best friends, but you don't find that out until towards the end of the series. And so he helps her listen. He listens to her problems, because apparently Dina can't listen to her problems and stuff. And I think also Fig is a person of color. I swear to God, this show is intentional when it comes to people of colors and the way they write them. But anyways, Alexis and Cassie kiss and make up, and they start dating towards the end of the series. Stigmy, or whatever, however you say his name. He is actually the second person of color to actually have a real storyline all on their own. But however, his is extremely perverted. Basically, he didn't even want to go to this graduation thing until his friends tell him that, that girl you've been pining after might be there. Only problem is, he don't know what she looks like. Basically, in a picture at school or something like that, this girl took a cosplaying picture with her head turned to the camera, and all you see is her wearing a fake wig, a costume, and her wearing these booty short type things that show her butt cheeks, and it shows a birthmark near her upper thigh. So they're all we have to do is find this birthmark and you'll find your dream girl. A little perverted and stalkery and everything. And he doesn't know what she looks like or who she is or anything about her, but he's in love with her. Apparently she writes fan fiction because she's a nerd too. So in a very perverted way, they decide, hey, if we take punch and throw it on girls' shirts, they'll have to go to the bathroom or the locker room and get naked and change, and there we will spy on them and see who has a birthmark near their upper butt cheek thigh. So they crawl around in the vents, looking through the things, trying to spot. Yeah, it's a very perverted storyline, and they just had to give it to the dude of color. But then they decide to squash that because that's a little too difficult. Then they decide, hey, let's go out to the pool and see all the girls in their bikinis and see who has it. Then let's just randomly ask girls, I guess, if they have that birthmark near their butt cheek. All they have to do is take the picture and be like, hey, is this you? But they don't think to do that, but yet they're supposed to be smart nerds and everything. And so basically him and his best friend, they have a huge fight and this and that. And this is the entirety of his storyline until some girl mysteriously in the dark says, hey, it's me. Then she runs off. This girl and then she later reveals herself. Guess who it is? Lacey, of all people, the one girl who's best friends with Ronnie and just there to play cheerleader and back her up like a puppy. So apparently Lacey is dumb as rocks. And she has no real storyline other than that she's just really stupid and really dumb. She had to be a person of color. And so she later reveals to them that, it's her. She does cosplay, she does like fan fiction and all this, but she's too afraid to tell her friends because they think it's lame. So they bond over this and decide to be friends, after school, once school is all over and stuff. So then she goes to her friends, Alexis and Ronnie, is all like, I'm a nerd and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. But they're like, we don't care. Like, you just our friends. So, whatever. So she hid herself from them and they could care less. Like, yeah. Now, the other nerd who's part of Stick Me's like friend group, him and an extremely hot girl by the name of Stefanina get locked in the basement. Basically, Stefanina is your typical hot girl who a lot of people assume sleeps around. She knows a lot of celebrities and she doesn't go to a lot of school events. So people are kind of confused as to why she's there. And so she's kind of mysterious in that sense. And so she wants alcohol, and Cody's all like, hey, I know we can get some alcohol at. So he goes down in the basement to go get it, but she decides to go down there with him, and the door locks. And for 12 hours, they're locked down there. At first, they start to hang and drink and stuff like that until he reveals to her that he's really pissed off at her and he wants an apology. Apparently, they played Spin the Bottle at a party years ago, and when it landed on him or something like that, she had to go and leave without kissing him. But it turns out she didn't kiss nobody that night. But so he feels like she ruined his life because of that one kiss, because it made him a nerd, and as a result, he was really smart and he became an outcast, a social outcast because of that. She defends herself talking about how dare you blame me for your life becoming the way it is and blah blah blah. It's really disgusting how he blames her for all that. But then she reveals to him he tells her, like, you're so like cool, you hang out with celebrities, everybody wants to be you and blah blah blah. So she tells him the straight up truth. The reason why she doesn't go to school events is because she works at her dad's restaurant where she meets celebrities. She's unable to go to school events. She's unable to have a typical high school life. And that's all she wants, to be like one of the normal kids and everything. And people always spread rumors that they sleep around with her, but she actually hasn't messed around with none of them. So she's the typical hot girl where everybody misunderstands and everything, and who just wants to be a normal person. So of course, eventually they do bond while they down there, and they play Spin the Bottle again so he can finally have her kiss and stuff like that. So it is kind of irritating how they made those two kids after how he blamed her, but it's like whatever. And so eventually at the end of the night, they get freed. And so then they decide to just kind of be friends and stuff like that. And he tries to make it up to her by asking her out to a makeshift prom down there in the basement because she never got to go to prom. And so they get the dance and stuff like that. So I still think she should have ended up with Nino because he didn't have the high school experience either. Speaking of which, Nino is our other person of color who actually gets his own storyline. However, but him being a person of color and him getting his own storyline, it ain't gonna be good. So basically, he was kind of like the bad boy, only went the freshman year and then got kicked out. After that, he stayed a little bit too long. Well, before he got kicked out, he stayed a little bit too long. He finally got his GED, and so he's a little bit older than everybody else. And he basically wants to live out his high school experience. So he makes this huge list of everything that he sees in high school movies and he wants to do. And so he got to pick on the mascot, he got to wrestle, he got to go streaking. He's actually a really fun loving guy who's not mean at all. And the one dude he used to pick on, they were jello wrestling, and he decided, I'm just gonna let you win, pretend you beat me up and everything. Just so that dude can kind of forgive him and everything. And so he's actually a really fun, really nice guy. And he ends up with Ronnie at the end of the show. And it's weird because you're expecting him to be this huge bad boy type thing, but he's not. Now, he is the dumb character and everything. And he, of course, got kicked out and had to get his GED and stuff. Bryce is a really weird character. He's a little like Finch from American Pie. Basically, the coach did something to him at school where he got in trouble because I guess he littered or something like that. So the coach gave him like detention or something like that. So he's been pissed at the coach ever since. And because of that, he wanted to get back at the coach by sleeping with his hot wife, who's a teacher there at the school. Yeah. So he basically talks to the coach and everything. The coach is all like, his grad night, him and his now wife, they just basically got drunk at the tennis court and she loves tequila. So he goes looking for tequila and he gives it to the teacher lady. She's all like, oh, I haven't drunk in a long, long, long time, which means she's probably sober now. And he pressured her to drink and so she drinks. And he's trying his best to like wooze her over, but she's just not having it. Like she doesn't want him because he's underage and she keeps reminding him of that. But he literally has the intentions of wanting to sleep with her. Basically, she spills about how their marriage, how like her husband kind of micromanages a little everything and really won't let her do too much. Like she wants candle lit dinners and he won't let her. So one time he decides when he spit his gum out and didn't put it in the trash, the coach got on to him. And basically, he spilled his guts to like the coach, talking about like, oh, your wife told me this and your wife told me that and blah, blah, blah. But he's still scared of the coach. Well, anyways, all the students do like this graduation video thing that 20 years from now, they'll watch again when they're at their reunion and crap. So he basically said on there, yo, I want to sleep with the coach's wife because I hate him and everything. Not thinking nobody would ever see this. But the mascot dude got picked on so badly, he decided to expose everybody's tapes. The teacher lady saw this video and is extremely disgusted by it and basically told him, you was never going to get with me no matter what. But then it did help strengthen her marriage because she went to him, her husband, and he basically apologized for not always letting her do what she wanted to do. The Bryce character is a very disgusting character. Which leads us to our last two characters, that of Melinda and that of Christian. I've already stated that we didn't find out that Christian is the twin of that of Cassie towards the very end. Now, Melinda is a very interesting character. See, because Bryce lost out to valedictorian because the coach like pretty much suspended him and everything, it went to her. She at the start of the show, because everybody is sneaking alcohol in one way or another. They put it in their water bras, they put it in toothpaste, they'll put it any way they can find it. She decided to carve out yearbooks and put bags of alcohol in it and sell them for $100, and the kids are buying them up. And so, like, we don't know why she wants this money, and we don't know why she's doing this. You assume it's because she's the goody goody two shoes who's really smart and decides to rebel. But then it's later discovered that she doesn't have that much money for college, and she has to take an internship for the summer in just a couple of days. So she's gathering money up for college and stuff. Well, it turns out she has a huge crush on that of Christian. Christian is like the jock. And like I said before, he's Cassie's brother, and he has no storyline of his own. Now Melinda is not white. She looks white, but she's actually Jewish, and so she's a light-skinned character. And just like with the three black girls, he is just there to run after Melinda and help her in whatever situation she is in. And so because of that, they spend all night together talking, having a great time. And when Bryce needs alcohol, they decided to go out in the parking lot and steal it from one of the teacher's cars because they have tons of alcohol there. So she takes some rum, set it on fire, and the coach is trying to put that out while they break into somebody's car getting alcohol, which causes her to put it in like toothpaste and everything else and reselling it, making more money. And he's helping her and stuff. And so when they're bonding, she decides she's just going to go for it and kiss him. He gets scared for whatever reason and just runs off. And so she is left perplexed and everything, not knowing why he didn't want her to kiss him. Later on, they still hang out as friends, and basically he tells her it was just shocking that she did that and he wasn't ready and stuff like that. Well, anyways, they've never interacted at school before, but she's always crushed on him. So it's kind of like the Ronnie and Fig thing. Well, anyways, she gets caught selling alcohol, and the principal puts her in kind of like in this detention room. And the principal is very upset at her because she has a future because she's really smart and stuff. And so basically, he sneaks into her detention room and they talk, they bond, and they sleep together. And so eventually, her and the principal lady come to an understanding to where she won't rat her out to her parents or the college that she's going to, and told her, we still got a couple of hours left. You just leave early and I'll forget all about it. So she leaves. And so Christian has no idea where she's at. So he thinks she's in there and he sneaks in there, but it turns out the principal's in that room. While he confessed that he helped her sell alcohol, this and that. The principal wants those two to get together and tell him, what are you going to do now, since y'all are like in love now and everything, blah, blah, stuff like that. They exchange phone numbers and this and that. So this is where he starts to do his solo thing, but it's only to help her out. He's selling pancakes for money. Now, the pancakes are free at that rec center. And he's selling pancakes for money so that he can give it to her so she can have money to go to college because the principal took her money. That's a really nice thing for him to do, but yet he has no storyline of his own and he's only there to prop her up. Well, when that video footage got put out, he had no idea what she said. Basically, she's talking about how she'll never see none of these people again. She's going to take their money. And she actually makes fun of him in the video and him and the other jocks. This kind of hurts his feelings. And so she just said it just to be like a little like brat and everything. But she didn't mean it because she really does care for him. And so at the very end, when, everybody gets to go home, she texts him and, she shows up and these two, she tells, like, I'm getting tongue tied. She basically tells him, like, she decided she's not going to go to her internship in the summer. She's going to go in the fall because she really does like him and she wants to see where this thing could go between these two. Her principal gives her back her money. And of course, her and Christian kiss as they're about to now date and everything. So it's very similar again to like, Can't Hardly Wait. They combine like two characters and Can't Hardly Wait and put them in nearly every character in this show. But the Melinda and Christian character are really cute and they're the only ones that seem truly genuine other than Fig and that of Dina. So this is a really fun series and man, it took me back because, Can't Hardly Wait came out in 98. This came out in 2018 and, like that many years apart and everything. And, it's like, yeah, they basically copied everything from Can't Hardly Wait. But like I said before, they did make a really interesting and really intriguing show. And they did change some things around that helped make it a little more fresh. And if you can't never get a Can't Hardly Wait sequel, this is the next best thing. And I'm really glad I did that research in order to find this show because I had no idea this show was even made. And it's really crazy to see Brett play such a scandalous type character who goes streaking and be in her bra and underwear and always wants to have sex because it's kind of like I watched her in Stargirl and she's the complete opposite. And so it was really cool to see her like expand her acting and stuff. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.